Welcome to In Frame Out's Year in Film, where we take stock of 12 months of spectacular cinema and unfortunate rubbish. While this year has proven that humans were a mistake, and our pale blue dot would be better off if it was populated and governed by moderately intelligent ducks, the upside is, terrible films are still being churned out with the regularity of unelected British Prime Ministers. Having binge-watched heaps of abject awfulness and somehow emerged with 2 functional eyes, here are entries 10 through 6 of our worst films of 2022. If you like what we do and want to see us continue through 2023 and beyond, you can support the channel for as little as $1 a month by checking out our Patreon at the link in the description below.
So if I don't get it before the end of the sentence, that nice woman's gonna lose that nice little family!
Stop! Stop it, Nick.
The 355, aka The Boring Identity or Mission Interminable, proves that you can have the best ingredients at your disposal, but if your kitchen is a bathroom and your chef is a thumbless arthritic ape, maybe don't expect a 5-star main course. Not since the toilet lasagna of movie 43 has a meeting of this many talented actors retched forth such sour, cynically cast nothingness. Written and directed by Simon Kinberg, who you may recognise from their equally uninspired work on Dark Phoenix, the 355 is so lifeless and listless from beginning to end, it's hard to articulate just how vacuous it is. While explosions are exploding and exposition is being exposited, I found myself nodding off or allowing my mind to ponder more valuable ways I could be spending my time. Trying to teach a brick how to do ballet? Talking to my dad about politics? How about playing basketball against a bucket of sick with Kyrie Irving's face drawn on it? All of those are better ways to kill a couple of hours. 355 is less of a name and more of an approximation of how often you'll find yourself falling asleep during its arduously uninteresting slog of kicking, running, and running towards or away from people, kicking other people. Someone called a Rest in Peace department because this straight-to-VOD debacle made me wish I was dead. For reasons known only to the inmates who've clearly taken over the asylum at Universal Studios, they've decided to pinch out a prequel that not one person on Earth could have been asking for. A 9 years too late follow-up to one of the biggest critical and commercial bombs of the 21st century, which itself was nominally based on an obscure, not particularly well-regarded comic book that doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, R.I.P.D 2 is a cheap, but never cheerful curiosity. So cheap in fact, you'd be forgiven for thinking this was originally intended as a commercial for discount denim that only plays when you need extra lives in Candy Crush.
Heaven and hell.
Blockbuster ambitions on a snuff film budget aren't helped by a laboured social commentary where 2 white ghosts espouse the importance of racial equality to 19th century innkeepers, snoozy performances aplenty, effects that in no way can be described as special, and dialogue that hits the ear like an embalming fluid enema. In the immortal words of Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle,
I expect nothing, and I'm still let down.
No matter what you do, you'll never be good enough, or straight enough, or man enough, or woman enough. You're not even a freak. You're nothing.
They called the movie They/Them. Do you get it? Like pronouns, but also knife things? They did it, everyone. They did satire. Satire is complete. As well-intentioned as this may have been, and with all hopes of it provoking any sort of meaningful discussion dashed by its ungodly shoddiness, what we have here is basically a 100-minute montage of LGBTQA+ kids being dead-named, misgendered, and then pelted with slurs and torturous physical abuse at a conversion camp. It's not just that it's cruel, shockingly crass, and seemingly oblivious to the very real terrors of these institutions, it's that it's all done in such a skin-deep, tiring, and stupendously toothless manner, all for the sake of a message that can be summed up with the words "bigotry bad, don't do." As for the slasher elements, there were maybe 8 minutes total of the meat and potatoes murder, stab, runaway bullshit, and feels so threadbare and disconnected from everything else that's going on in the film that I would be in no way shocked if it was later revealed that these elements were all reshoots. Like they tried to mash a masked killer into the cracks to disguise how little there is to any of this. They/Them is a rare feature where more thought seems to have gone into the title than the movie itself.
Bye-bye, buddy.
Bye.
It turns out that 2022 was the year major Hollywood studios reached a quantum singularity of not giving a rat's ass, delving into the dustbin of bad ideas and sifting through the slop for something to shill in the name of content. Hence why we've now got a wholly unnecessary do-over of Eraser. You know, the 1996 Arnold Schwarzenegger actioner with the X-ray guns. Yep, Eraser Reborn is a thing that came out. Alas, this is a barely intelligible beat-by-beat remake that throws away the railguns that shoot through walls, the fun, the James Caan, and the below-the-line talent. Instead, it answers some long-pondered philosophical questions. What if we replaced the Governator with a CGI rhinoceros, charisma with Joey Tribbiani's school of fart acting, and the man behind some of the most inventive fun popcorn movies of the 80s and 90s with the director of Deep Blue Sea 3? Turns out, you get a placid, plastic monstrosity that feels like everyone involved lost a bet and is begrudgingly carrying out their end of the bargain. Eraser wasn't a masterpiece by any means, but Eraser Reborn is so artless and awkward. The original starts to look like Casablanca with IEDs and corporate espionage.
Look at this freak show.
Try anything and you're canceled, bro.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a soft reboot of the series' continuity that ignores all the sequels, prequels, and remakes to spin us a yarn about how people of color move to a small southern town so they can exploit the harsh economic conditions and gentrify predominantly white neighborhoods, driving up prices and forcing the Caucasian inhabitants out of their homes. That is until a good old boy Texan picks up a weapon and takes the law into his own hands by fighting back in territorial acts of violence.
What?
Oh, and the final girl only survives because of the practical, life-saving lessons she learned from witnessing a school shooting.
What?
That's right, folks, this late-in-the-day successor to the original, which still stands as one of the most transgressive and masterful pieces of gristle and grain ever recorded, is unabashed alt-right propaganda that explicitly espouses some Tucker Carlson Great Replacement Theory racist wackadoo hokum as a hacky attempt to intellectualize its CGI-laden bloodletting. They also recast Sally from the 1974 classic, make her a friggin' cop, and then kill her off in the lamest, least dignified way possible. As tedious as it is fundamentally hateful, there is exactly one good shot in the whole thing. Here it is. And the rest's not gory or smart enough to cling to the soggy bottom of the barrel of this almost entirely terrible series. So those were entries 10 through 6 of our worst movies of the year. Tune in next week for entries 5 through 1 of the best films of 2022. A lump of coal for our Patreon producers Jennifer C, Claire MD, Beckio, Hales and Rue, Scared Confusion, Jake R and Nicholas Lerevere, and a suspicious smelling stocking for all these amazing folks who support us over on Patreon. Did you manage to catch any of these turkeys? If so, what did you think of them? Let us know your worst films of the year in the comments, and make sure to do all that like, share, subscribe stuff. If you're in a position to do so, consider checking out our Patreon, where you can get membership to the In Frame Out Film Club, your name in the credits, and access to our private Discord. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, this is In Frame Out.